weekends are a good time to escape to the woods. Unless the weekend begins with Friday the 13th. Because 13 is an unlucky number. But out here, so are 1 through 12. Because these are Jason's woods. And nobody leaves them alive. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. Jason, you can't fight him. You can't stop him. And now, you can't even keep him on the screen. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. Now, when it comes to killing in Jason's woods, Jason will come to you. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. A new dimension in terror. It will scare you. Count on it.
You blow it! You blow it! You blow it! You blow it!
Welcome to You Blew It. This is the show where we watch turd sandwiches in HD so you don't have to. Reliving our childhoods one Blu-ray disc at a time. And man, 'tis the season. This is my favorite time of year. And I'm always hounding you.
I know it is.
I'm always hounding you, Thunder,
Yeah.
to allow me to watch some sort of horror movie. And boy, oh boy, did you fucking deliver this week, pal.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting a late start into October because I was like, I've been sitting on this. I go, dude, I got it. I'm ready. Let's do it. But you've been busy. I've been busy, and
I've been waiting for this. I've been really looking forward to it, and it did not disappoint, man. Disappoint.
Friday the 13th, Part 3D.
Yes.
We did watch it in 3D. We chose to go straight to Part 3D. We did not watch Part 1 or Part 2.
No.
Which is kind of weird.
You have the whole set now, though.
Yeah, Shout
on
Factory.
Blu-ray, right?
Shout Factory did this entire set of, I think, all of the available Friday the 13th movies now. Because I don't know when the last one was made, but
Dude.
But
guess what year this is?
I was gonna say like 83.
82.
82.
I was guessing like 84, 85, I think. But that blows me away. This is 82. So that means that the first one, Friday the 13th, the Part 1,
that was like 79
probably
or
came
80.
out in 79.
Yeah, it was 79 or 80 if I remember. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know I've seen the first one.
Yes. I have as well.
It's been a while.
I've seen the second one.
I don't believe I've seen the second one, but
I don't know if I'd ever seen this one all the way through.
I have definitely seen this one all the way through, maybe once, but I've seen like bits and pieces of this one more on TV.
Right.
And this is,
I think that's where I've seen it as well. Yeah.
and of course, this is the one that introduces the hockey mask.
Yes. Yeah.
So
where we first come into the hockey mask. And I'm not super familiar with this franchise. This is probably, I don't know, not one of my least favorite horror franchises, but not my favorite.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like my favorite's got to be, and I think we've gone over this ad nauseum, is definitely Nightmare on Elm Street. It's got to be my all-time favorite horror movie.
I don't know if I knew that.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't talked about this yet?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, one of the greatest premises for a horror movie.
It's a fantastic premise.
A killer in dreams. I mean, holy shit. That's incredible.
Yeah.
This is just a slasher,
Yeah,
right?
this is totally just
slasher along the lines of like Halloween, right? Like Michael Myers, some sort of supernatural kind of strong being that is developmentally disabled and just fucking kills people.
Some sort of a mental midget who like is pure evil and
just pure evil. Yeah.
Like kind of almost a zombie. Not really, but
a bit,
kind of.
yeah.
Like,
but I think so. In this one, though, it's like even before kind of they introduce kind of the zombie aspects, or the more just pure, I don't know, demon type fucking, thing.
Yeah, just a lumbering human that just wants to kill.
Right.
Which is kind of...
Well, I think it's it's all based in revenge too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess right, but I guess Jason is just stuck on revenge no matter what. I mean, at this point, especially like we just jumped into part 3, they don't explain any of that stuff.
No, but they do start the movie out with showing the very end scene of part 2, right?
Yeah. But they don't explain
to kind of set it up.
Other than the end of part 2 where the from what I can gather, the last surviving girl here is pretending to be Jason's mom.
Right. She puts on the sweater because he's got a shrine built for his decapitated mother.
That's right, yeah.
In this shack. The mom, right, is the killer in the first one. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
Because she's getting revenge because she thinks that her son is dead and was killed by a bunch of camp counselors at Camp Crystal Lake.
Yep.
Or died because of their negligence, right? And so she goes on a killing spree, kills all the camp counselors at Camp Crystal Lake. Number 2, Jason actually isn't dead. He's grown to be a grown-ass man from the time that he was a kid and thought to be drowned in the lake. Back in the 50s or something. Yeah, something like that.
And now he's...
disappears forever, comes back, avenges his mom's death, makes a shrine of her decapitated head and sweater, and then goes on a killing spree with a bag over his head.
Yeah, it's like a highwayman's kind of like burlap sack with like one eye.
Yeah. And then number 3, he just continues his killing spree. Because like number 3 takes place right after number 2.
Yeah. Although, like, from the looks of things, like, at the beginning where they show the end of part 2,
right,
they maim him again and leave him.
Yes. Yeah, and they cut straight down into his clavicle.
Yeah.
Clavicle.
Apparently he goes off and heals up somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Apparently very quickly.
But what is funny is other than that first part of this movie where it's like the end of part 2.
Yeah.
You still don't really understand the motivation of why this guy's doing this.
Right.
You just see that he obviously his mother had some sort of power over him, and he's some sort of mental midget, and but that's all you know of his like driving force.
Yeah, and I mean I was just I could be very wrong in my synopsis of those first 2 movies as well. Because, like I said, I'm not super familiar with this franchise, but that's what I understand it to be, right? So, anyway.
I'm going to change what I said to half-wit. I feel better about that.
I was going to try to correct you on that one.
I thought about it.
I think the M word is probably pretty frowned upon.
Yeah, but I wasn't using it in that fashion. But
no, I know, but it was still very, very negative connotation.
I apologize to everyone. I apologize. We're talking about a fake creature in a movie. Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So when I was at the end of this movie, I was thinking, how are we going to go through this?
Yeah.
There really isn't much of a plot of this movie.
No. I mean, this is your typical slasher movie, right? There's a maniac on the loose, right? There's a bunch of like young 20-somethings. Are we going to say 20-somethings? These people, like, some of them look like fucking teenagers. And some of them look like they're 35.
Yes, but I think they're supposed to be like a group of 20-somethings, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I think you're right in saying that.
So the main character is the woman, I can't remember her name.
Chris, I think.
Oh, yeah. Chris, that's right, because she's got it written on the side of her van, her Chimo van. And they're going to her family's cabin on Crystal Lake just for a weekend, right?
Yeah, and they try to tie into some. Apparently, she was maybe one of the kids that was up there way back when. Or something.
I don't think so.
You don't
because
think so?
I think the only thing, like, they do a flashback later in the movie where she's regaling why she has stayed away from this place for so long.
Okay,
and it was like, right, it had been 2 years since she had been back there, or something. And this is not the camp. It's not the camp where, like, earlier, all these camp counselors had been
Crystal Lake or whatever.
It's not the camp. It's like a family cabin.
Got it.
That might be down lake or something from there.
Okay.
And so she regales this guy, this love interest, with the story of why she hasn't been back in 2 years.
The love interest who like lives up there.
Yeah, that's the other weird.
There's some let's.
There's a lot of disconnects in this.
There's some weird shit. The group of kids you meet after you see Jason kill these like the small store owners.
Crystal Lake little grocery
store is like the first real part of this movie that's not just a rerun of the second one.
Right.
And this is where you kind of get introduced to Jason.
There's some exposition here too, because they're talking. There's like a news report on the news or on television about like all the murders that just happened.
Yeah. And so then after this, you get the introduction to the 20-somethings that are piled into a van.
Right.
Going up to stay. But it's a weird thing. It's like, there's a guy, is his name Shelley? Is that his name?
Yeah, Shelley. Yeah.
Who's like your typical nerd who's a little overweight, it's got a weird Brady Bunch kind of perm, and is a total like prankster, but also does these like horrible sorts of like
pranks.
Yeah, faking like he's dead, like worse than your typical prank. Though.
Right.
Not throwing a whoopee cushion down.
He keeps on like pretending that he's being murdered.
Yeah. But for some reason they're trying to set him up on a date.
Yeah.
They're like, we've got this girl who's coming and she'll be your date.
Yeah. And it turns out like this girl that they set him up with is completely out of his league.
Yeah, totally hot and totally disinterested in him. Then you've got this other thing where it's one of the girls keeps joking about her being pregnant. Like,
she says that
she says it twice in the beginning of the movie,
and she looks very young.
Yeah,
very young, like barely 20, maybe.
Yeah,
and her boyfriend looks like maybe 19.
Yep.
And they're pregnant and they're going up there. Yeah, it seemed like I don't know.
But then that
1982, different time, man.
I guess so. And then at that point, she only mentions it twice. The first time you showed me, it was like, is she joking? Is that supposed to be a joke?
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. That's weird. And then she brings it up again later.
Yeah.
But then never brings it up again.
Yeah, you would have thought that would have played more into it because, again, spoiler alert, she dies.
Yeah.
She gets murdered. Like, you would have thought that might have played some other part in her death.
So maybe it was a joke?
I don't think so, man, because they even said it, like, when they get to the cabin, too. I think they mention it, like, 3 times.
And the two of them are fucking like rabbits. Like,
oh, yeah.
She's talking about it every, like, okay. And
you know what happens if they live, though? They have that baby. No more fucking. For a while.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's the truth.
So, some weird shit like that.
You want to get real here? Should we have a real conversation?
Yeah, let's have it. I just thought that was kind of some odd dialogue.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, why make her pregnant?
Yeah.
Like, are they trying to add in some sort of, emotional component to her being killed later on in the movie?
The other horrible thought was, I was thinking, did the filmmakers say, like, well, I don't know what's going on with you, Sandy, but we can't have you in this movie looking like this. We got to give some sort of explanation. Because she did not look pregnant. That was the other thing.
No, she didn't look pregnant at all.
If she's pregnant, then she was, like, very early on in the pregnancy. I was
right.
like,
right. Yeah, and back in 1982, were the pregnancy tests that reliable?
Too many questions at the beginning, no answers by the end of the movie, other than she was either lying, they either thought it was a funny joke. We don't know because she gets murdered, and we never know if she's ever going to have. She never has the baby.
Yeah.
So also in this van is a couple who are potheads, and they're your typical pothead.
Right. Like, one looks almost exactly like Chong.
Exactly, almost. Yeah. Like this has got to be what they're going for. Before we get any further, because we do have a plan in the background.
Okay. Yeah, we got to go. We got to rewind a little bit because the scene where the first two people die, and we're talking about the store owners, right? The wife and husband that have a very rocky marriage, by the way.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
They pretty much hate each other. This dude is like, I don't know, he's walking around, he's doing chores, right? He's holding his rabbit.
He's also
in the store,
like grazing off of
the food that's
have on the shelf.
In the convenience store.
Yeah.
Like
his own products
out of the jar. Yeah.
It's so dumb. He eats a donut out of a box of donuts and his wife puts the donut back in when she finds, because she's angry that he's eating this bad stuff.
3/4 of that thing was eaten and she puts it back in the box.
He has a full thing of Sunny Delight.
Yeah.
Sitting on a shelf, not being refrigerated.
Not refrigerated.
And he eats something and then opens that up and chugs it, puts the cap back on and puts it back on.
So, I mean,
so dumb.
Realistically, though, does Sunny Delight have to be refrigerated?
I'm sure it doesn't have. No, I'm sure it's no
it's just sugar and water.
Yeah,
right?
it's
maybe a little citric acid added.
I'm not saying that he has it on the shelf, and I'm not saying like, oh, that's something that you can't have out there because it'll go bad.
Sure.
I'm just saying like, don't you want that cold? Like, what are you doing? And it's so random because it's like a bunch of like Campbell's soup cans, and then just one jug of Sunny D.
One jug of Sunny D.
It's so dumb. But all of this, to go back to this, at some point, this dude sits on the turlet.
Yeah.
And it is, of course, they add in liquid diarrhea sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he thinks he hears something, he just pulls his britches back up and starts like hunting around.
No wipe.
No
wipe. I brought this up while we were watching.
Disgusting.
I was like, that dude didn't wipe his ass.
No, he
pulls it up and then he starts walking around the room. This is the worst thing that could ever happen to a person.
Very uncomfortable to watch.
Man or woman or child.
Yeah. Very uncomfortable.
If you got a watery turd and then you get up and you have to walk, like let's say you run out of toilet paper, you got to go out into the hallway and nobody's around to help you.
No, it's bad.
That's the worst because you know it's going to take half of a roll to get you clean unless you jump in the fucking shower. Right?
Or you have wet wipes somewhere.
Because you're walking around, your two cheeks are spreading that stuff around.
Oh my God, smearing it in there too.
Just smearing it around. You better throw that underwear away too.
We rewound just to talk about that because we just saw that scene and it was so disgusting. And so this might be the most disturbing part of this movie. It would be that.
The thing that bugged me about that scene the most, though, not that he didn't wipe, was that he hears something, and this happens a lot in this movie. Stupid. It's like they'll make the sound like the or what, however it goes.
Yeah.
So that sound comes on, and then the person on screen thinks that they hear something.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So is that sound happening like in the world?
No.
Or they just think they hear something like rustling?
I think they're just hearing something, and then that's added for effect for the audience.
When he doesn't wipe, he gets up. He goes to this to this shelving unit, which is covered with a really dirty tarp, and then pulls the tarp back, and it's just shelves that's filled with shit.
Yeah.
He knows what's on that fucking shelf. Like, he put that stuff there.
Yeah, it's a movie of people constantly checking places that no human could hide.
Right.
Yeah. It's like...
you know what's there.
I don't even know.
You don't need to look in that area.
I don't even know the build of their place that they're in, but I'm like... there's nothing behind, like there's so obviously nothing behind that. And then when they open, you're like, oh, because there's no way a person could hide behind that without sticking out it's so dumb.
Because it's a bunch of small shelves with very little room in between, stacked with fucking really old canned goods.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's going to fit in there. What are you doing? Yeah. Anyway, they die.
Yeah, they die. And then, we're introduced to all the people in the van. They take the van up to this, not lake house, but like by a pond.
Yeah, dude. Well, this is what bugs me about some of these movies that I've seen. And maybe it's just this one. It's just bits and pieces of Friday the 13th, the third installation. But like, that is not a lake.
No. And there's certain parts where you're like, this is a lot. This is a lot in
oh yeah, for sure.
In LA. Like this is on the Universal lot here.
That's to be expected, I think.
I don't know.
But like the barn and the actual cabin itself, that looks like it's actually
that's
real.
a location, but then they do like close-ups of them getting into the water.
Oh yeah.
And it's clearly something you've seen in the A-Team.
Sure.
It's like it is not a lake. It is not.
Yeah.
It's like
but there are certain scenes that look like it's on location, but they couldn't get to a lake, an actual lake, so they found like a bend in a really slow flowing river.
Yeah, that's true.
Or something like that, or a stagnant drainage area, ditch.
My biggest problem is like when she's getting in there, when like at one point one of the ladies actually accidentally loses a wallet in there, so she's kind of like going ankle deep to go and grab the wallet.
Oh, that's totally a backlot. That's a set.
You can always tell the way the water comes up to the shore.
Right.
The shore doesn't look right. It doesn't look like, oh, this is not real.
Yeah. And it's too dark in the background.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything around is so perfectly black.
Yeah.
That it just can't be natural.
No.
Right?
No.
But speaking of that, like this movie suffers from what a lot of these movies back in the 80s suffered from too, is that everything is super well lit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, once we get into night, it's a little creepy though. It gets in when we get into the night portions of it.
Yeah, but there's never really any dark scenes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know, man. Like I guess you're right. Yeah. I mean, it gets windy at night, but you're right. You're in interiors of a cabin and whatnot. I mean,
yeah, but even when they
lose power,
they're going from. There's a lot of running from the cabin to the barn, and everything's really well lit out there.
It probably has something to do with this thing being in 3D too.
That could be. Yeah, could be it. That could be it. By the way, 3D was fucking great.
The 3D was solid, and we actually watched a little bit of like one of the extra vignettes on here or whatever, and they talked about how long it took them to set up shots.
Yeah.
So like for a lot of the actors on the set, it took like they waited around way more than you typically would.
Yeah. And had to redo shit like constantly.
Yes, constantly. They had to get these 3D shots like perfect because, I mean, I could only imagine how fickle of a setup it was back in 82 or whatever this was. But I will say, like, they do a lot of stunt stuff where it's like a kid's playing baseball in the street and the shot starts off with the bat, like, coming right at you.
Right.
Or...
you mean like
right here, this guy
coming at you?
Coming at you. Look at this. Coming at you. This guy's holding an eyeball.
Yeah.
See, which apparently is a human eyeball.
I don't know if that's a human eyeball
That's
or not.
what he says. He's like, his whole thing is it made it sound like I met this guy and he gave me this.
Oh, that could have been the store owner's eyeball, right?
Yeah.
Because he pokes the fucking sewing needle through his eye.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of shots like that. A lot of...
Tons of it, like a...
Just setup.
But a lot of it...
it's coming right out at me.
It reminds me of that shit on SCTV when they would do that and they go, woo, at the camera, woo. I don't know if you remember that bit on SCTV, but I see why they made that bit because there are shots like that in this movie. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where a guy's like needing to prop up like the clothesline. They're hanging clothes out to dry.
Right.
And he's going to put a stick to prop up the line, But before that,
he takes the pole and shoves it back towards the
camera while he's and it's like
right. But it works in this one. It
does
work.
Like
the 3D is fucking spectacular.
It really is. I mean, as much as you get these corny shots, the pop out effect is really solid.
Yeah.
The titles at the beginning of the movie looked great.
It was awesome. I mean,
the pop out effect was really good.
Yeah, you got up one point and walked across the room to plug your phone in.
You almost asked me to duck.
To throw something out. and like you walked across the screen just at the perfect time before something popped out, and it looked like it could have hit you in the back of the head.
It's really good.
It really did. It was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So the group of young ones show up at the lake cabin, and this other guy is introduced. His name is Rick, and he is the love interest of our main character Chris,
who lives up here,
who lives at her family's cabin.
Yeah, around the area at least.
And instantly, he shoves her up against a wall and starts making out with her.
Hasn't seen her in how long?
I think 2 years.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, yeah.
Yeah. So, a little weird, man.
Yeah. Very aggressive.
Maybe they're in contact. I don't know. But you don't get a whole lot of explanation for the relationships and how everybody's connected.
No, and at this point you have the pairing of her and Rick, and then you have the two stoners. That are a couple. You have Sandy and I forget the girl's name that
I can't
they tried
remember.
to set
the
her
pregnant,
up with. That tried to set her up with Sandy. They end up kind of hanging out together mostly.
Isn't his name Shelly?
Shelly. Shit. Sorry. Yeah. Shelly.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Shelly and the woman who's Hispanic.
Yeah. Who's way out of his league.
Yeah.
But they still end up hanging out together.
Right.
And then you have the pregnant girl, apparently.
The pregnant couple.
Yeah. And so those are kind of, and they all kind of pair off and do their own thing. At some point, Sandy, is that what it's? Shelly. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I can't.
You
just
said it,
but it's so forgettable.
I just said it.
It's so forgettable.
I swear to God, I've seen that guy in something else.
And you looked it up, and he's
we've watched, and there's no credits to this kid at all.
They go off to go to the grocery store. They run into some bikers.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
And the biker gang ends up showing up, following them here, and ends up.
No. Let's hold on. Don't just gloss over this.
Well, I mean,
because this is fucking ridiculous. This is only a vehicle to make more deaths.
True.
Right? So Shelly and the girl and
Sandy?
Shut the fuck up. So Shelly and this girl, they take off in the VW Bug. They go to this other grocery store, apparently.
You got tons of them up there.
That no murders have happened at yet. They get a bunch of groceries, and the girl is being discriminated against at the counter.
Yes,
because she's like, no food stamps, and so Shelly throws his wallet to her
at the camera for pop out effect.
Yep.
By the way,
and it falls to the floor, and this punk girl picks it up and is like not giving it to her, and then she makes her say, "You have to ask nicely. What? Can I have the wallet back?
Can I please have my wallet back, ma'am?"
She makes her call her ma'am.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. This is like a punk motorcycle gang. Two guys grab Shelly.
And the gang is two guys and a lady.
And then they get kind of in this little altercation, right? Like they give the wallet back. They're taken off from the store, and Shelly accidentally backs into the motorcycles.
Yeah,
their
knocks them down.
One of the gang leader is out there drinking a fucking Olympia tall boy.
I believe
street.
Ollie.
Yeah.
I forgot to look at the end of the movie because I thought there was going to be, special thanks to Olympia, because the dude's drinking an Olympia tall boy, and there's an Olympia delivery truck parked behind them.
Yeah, indeed.
Which I guess Olympia was a national beer back then. It's weird because
I guess so. Rainier was too at some point, right?
Wild. R.I.P. Olympia.
Yeah. Let's see.
So,
and so the leader of the gang gets all pissed off. He breaks the window with a chain, breaks their windshield
as they're trying to drive off.
And then they subsequently follow them back to the cabin, siphon off a bunch of their gas,
which is a setup for later on in the movie.
For later on, of course. And then they are the first group that are killed and dispatched by Jason in the barn.
Yeah, up at the cabin thus far. Yeah,
at the lake.
Yeah, a lot of stuff gets done in that barn.
Yeah. I think most of it happens in the barn.
Yeah,
right.
A ton of it happens. In the barn.
Like the punk girl. So when they show up, the punk girl is like, "Oh, cool, a barn. I'm gonna go check this out." And goes through the barn. The barn's right next to the fucking house.
Yeah, it's
literally 100 feet away.
Yeah.
And she goes walking in the barn, and she is touching everything in that barn.
It's oh, look at this. It's an old-timey lantern. Cool, let me touch it.
She's wearing a leather jacket with studded, chrome-studded shit all over it and patches.
She's like, look, an old canteen. Let's see if there's water in it.
Wow.
Look,
look, an old pair of boots hanging from a hook.
Look, a horse saddle.
A horse saddle. She's like, oh. She's got this massive grin on her face. So obviously this girl, she really just wants to be she wants to live in an old Western.
Yeah, apparently.
She's really missing out.
It's funny you mentioned at the beginning of the movie and when it was showing the end of part 2, you were talking about, they love to do this in these movies to pad time. Mm-hmm. But there's tons of scenes like that biker girl walking through the barn, looking at this and that.
Right.
I'm sure the director or the filmmakers would say, we're trying to build tension here.
Well, that's what I was going to say,
but also,
that's supposed to be a tension-building scene.
You're wasting a bunch of time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or you're driving the time up to pad this thing out to be 90 minutes.
Yeah. Because that was a long scene. She is literally walking through the barn, checking and touching everything out.
But when you're first introduced to the people that die that own the grocery...
Touching everything out. What does that fucking mean?
Checking everything out, you meant to say, I think. But even at the beginning, when you're introduced to the grocery store owners that get killed...
Yeah.
They linger on a lot of shit in there, too.
Right.
When he's walking through the store and he's grazing off of the... I mean, I guess it's kind of funny, sort of, but not really. And they spend way too much time. Then he randomly picks up a bunny that's in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They have a lot of scenes like that where they're, and again, that one's supposed to build tension because okay, he's lurking around here somewhere.
Well, and the music is always ominous, right? You're hearing the or
whatever it is.
Yeah. Which has got to be some of the most iconic sounds.
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out if that soundtrack...
Did that start in the first movie?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'll know soon because I'm going to go through all these.
Are you going to watch all of them?
Yeah, I'm for sure. Yeah.
I think when you leave tonight, I'm going to watch part 4.
You're not going to go back to 1 and 2. You're going to just keep moving on through.
No, because I've seen 1 and 2. Well, I do. I am curious about when that sound effect started.
That's why I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. But I want to see how they do 4. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say there's just a ton of that stuff where they're trying to build tension, but really it seems like more they're just padding the time of the movie out. That was all my point was with that.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the movies in the 80s, especially horror too, they always thought they were building tension, and it may. I mean,
maybe for
tastes
that time,
have changed.
Yeah, tastes have changed. Exactly.
Tastes have totally changed because
True.
You watch a horror movie now, and it is completely fucking different.
Yeah.
They're trying to pack in so many scares into most horror movies like this, like slasher films.
Yeah.
They try to pack in a lot. And and it's so much more gore fest now.
Yeah, for sure.
Too.
Yeah.
Back in I just had my kids are growing horror movie buffs.
I know. I was talking to your kids earlier today, and they were very much in. They were saying they really like the horror movies.
Yeah. And so
Mairead said she does not.
No, she doesn't. No. And I allowed them to watch this movie called The Babadook, which was a Australian film that came out probably like 2018 or 2014 maybe. When I first saw it, it fucking absolutely terrified me. Like, I was absolutely terrified by that movie. And I allowed the kids to watch it because they've been bugging me about it forever. And so I said, okay, we'll watch it during the day, right? Because I know my youngest will get freaked out and have nightmares,
not sleep if you watch it at night. Yeah.
So we watch it during the day, and they were both like, "This is the most boring fucking thing ever," because that movie kind of follows kind of the classic horror genre of not showing you a lot,
right,
and allowing your mind to interpret what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, to build up things. Yeah.
And I think it's partly being a kid, and then also partly being more used to movies nowadays that show you fucking everything.
Yeah, and also just having the
and it's got to be action point a minute, right? Like it's got to be bam, 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 like a machine gun shooting into your brain hole.
Yeah,
and so, I think movies were a little bit slower.
We've got. By the way, we got to talk about this because, again, talking about the 3D things, we have it playing in the background. There's literally a scene where a guy has a yo-yo and he's yo-yoing it towards the camera.
It's the future dad.
The future dad, yeah.
And he's literally. This is why I think this kid is like. He's got to be like 19 or 18 years old. He's about to be a dad, and he's throwing a yo-yo down into his the mother of his child, his unborn child's face.
Which is
just fucking with
which is the camera for us.
Right. Yeah.
It's going right at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other than the stuff we just set up, though, the rest of this movie is just a series of people dying.
Right.
Which, again, it's a slasher film, I understand.
It's a Friday the 13th
They all get
film.
separated at some point because they're all off dealing with their stuff, which isn't a lot of stuff to deal with. And then they all start dying. And then what me and you do, basically the rest of the movie, is talk about how does he clean all this stuff up?
Well, that's the thing that always bugs me about the Friday the 13th franchise. God, that's hard to say. But that's one of the things that always bugs me about these types of movies. And maybe this happened in Halloween as well. I'm not as familiar with Halloween either.
Yeah, I know I really like the first Halloween. I don't go beyond.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
I love that.
But movie. He cleans up the bodies.
Yeah, and this one especially is egregious because it's only the cabin and the barn. And he does a ton of killing in the barn, and so many people go into the barn,
get killed in a bloody way, which would leave blood everywhere.
And then someone else comes in and snoops around and doesn't see anything.
Not a speck.
Yeah.
Not a speck.
And I know people are listening going like, oh, come on, dude. This is your biggest gripe with this? It's like...
Yeah, but that's what this show is.
That's what we do, yeah. But it's like a video game when you kill somebody and the body disappears. You know what I mean? And there's just a ton of that in this movie. Because you go like, well, okay, this person's going to the barn. Well, clearly they're going to see this body. They're going to see a bunch of blood. And it's like, the jig's up. They're going to start deciding okay, there's someone here killing people. We got to figure out what to do.
So the pregnant
couple,
happen. The perfect example of this, the pregnant couple have sex. They're sleeping in a hammock, by the way. They have to have sex in a hammock.
Which, again, is another total setup for
a death.
A death.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we don't have a bed in here, but we have a hammock. They're like, oh, that's funny. We'll learn how to fuck in a hammock then.
Right. And so they have sex.
They fuck in a hammock.
The girl goes to take a shower, right? And then her boyfriend
Which they set up another kill thing earlier. in the movie.
That's right.
He likes to walk around on his hands.
No shit, I didn't even think about that.
He likes to walk on his hands.
He does. He likes handstands.
Yeah, handstands, and he's like, "You want a beer?" And he does a handstand.
Right.
It's like,
and so he comes back out of the bathroom. He does a handstand out of the bathroom while she's showering. Get a little booby scene in there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little tiny bit. You get a little side boob.
I'd be pissed if I was her. I was like, really? Like, why did I even have to get really
Why
naked
did I have
for
to
this?
get naked for that?
Like, just move the camera up one more inch.
Yeah.
And
I could have some pasties on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Right. Not worth it.
No.
Not worth a boob scene.
No.
Yep.
I'd be pissed if I was
Go
her.
full or go no.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, guys, you got me in here. You got my titties out. I thought for sure that would show up on not that I want it to.
Right.
But I thought for sure if you're going to make me be naked up top, then it's for a naked shot in the movie. Nah, not hardly.
Yeah.
Not hardly. It's just basically for the creeps.
Just a
creeps
bunch
on
of
set.
creeps and perverts on set. Yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me.
It's got to be terrible. What a feeling that's got to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's doing a handstand out of the bathroom.
Oh, gee, I wonder what happens. I wonder how he gets killed.
He gets fucking sliced. His bottom half, his crotch gets sliced in half.
Down the middle by a machete.
Down the middle by a machete.
Oof. Brutal.
Right. And then she's like, she hears something, right? That's the other thing in this fucking tiny ass cabin. Like some dude getting sliced in fucking half.
Right.
Right?
Again.
Makes a very little sound, and she's like, I think I heard something.
And she's in the shower. Dude goes like down the hallway, gets chopped in half.
Yeah.
Or like down the middle, not in half completely, but like.
Right.
And then she gets out of the shower and is like, oh, where are you at, Terry?
Yeah, where
or whatever?
are you at? I don't want that beer anymore.
No blood.
He was going to go get her a beer.
No blood in the hallway. None of that
Nothing.
shit. None of that shit.
Nothing. That would have been gallons of blood right there.
So let's think about this because this is even.
Oh, and then she grabs a Fangoria magazine.
Fangoria magazine. Because.
Lays back down in the hammock and starts reading that, and then all of a sudden blood starts dripping down on the Fangoria magazine. She's like, what's this? And she looks up, and there's the fucking goriest scene of the movie.
Yeah.
Dude's bottom half is like folded over on himself, and he's shoved up into the rafters of the ceiling. And then she gets stabbed through the hammock. Through her chest.
You got to love that Jason sliced him in half.
Yes.
Picked him up, put him up in the rafters.
Silently.
In
a matter of like, what? A minute and a half?
3 minutes maybe.
That's quick.
Real quick.
That's real quick work,
and cleaned up the blood trail going to it.
John Wick of murder scenes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And does it right above the hammock. So when she gets in the hammock.
Yeah.
And thankfully none of the blood had dripped before she got in there.
Yeah, right.
Like she would be like getting in the hammock. Like,
I didn't even think about that.
Blood all over the bedding here.
Yeah.
This is weird.
It just started dripping when she laid down. Yeah.
And then, of course, the hammock sets us up for machete from underneath the hammock coming right up through her chest, which is
and
awesome.
by this time, too, Shelley has gotten killed.
Yeah.
In the barn.
He wandered into the barn.
Hold on. Okay.
It's too much, man. It's too much. There's too much.
All right. So when we're first introduced to the whole gang, right, Shelley has this box.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In the back of the van.
She's like,
and
what do you
the
got
girl
in this
that
box?
he's just introduced to is like, what do you got in the box? And he's like, oh, you'll see.
Oh, I thought he said something like,
he goes, this is my entire life.
That's what he says, yeah.
Right. And he's already been kind of set up as a prankster. He considers himself an actor.
Yes.
Right. And so he plays a prank in the beginning when they all get to the cabin that he's got a hatchet in his head.
Yeah, and he actually played a prank on them too when they're just picking up everybody.
Yeah, he's got a knife, a rubber knife, and a mask on.
Yeah,
right.
So that's his whole thing is like,
right. He's like, oh, I'm an actor. I'm gonna fake like I'm dying every couple hours, right? And so anyway,
one of the pranks he does, we find out, is the lady friend that he's trying to get with, she's sitting at the end of a dock.
Well, this is after a conversation that they've just had right in front of the fireplace. Where he's like, hey, we've gotten to know each other after, going to the grocery store.
Yeah, that's right.
And me juggling for you in the living room.
That's super hot.
We've gotten to know each other. I was thinking, juggle. And she goes, I'm not interested.
I got laid so much from my juggling, dude, back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. No. Did you juggle fire?
No, dude, just balls.
Just balls.
And I got laid so hard. Like...
Oh, I'm sure, dude.
Once
back in the
saw
80s,
me juggling,
that was how you made girls wet. It's just like, hey, check this out.
Dumb.
You got 3 apples?
Yeah. Yeah. So, turns out it doesn't work for Shelley.
Well, not for Shelley. Yeah. Yeah. So
she goes, she's like, I need some time. I'm going to be outside. So she goes outside.
I'm going to go hang out by myself.
She's sitting at the end of the dock, dangling her feet. What comes up from under the water? Like a hand that grabs her, right? Is that what happens?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And who is it but Shelley?
It's Shelley with a spear gun.
A
full wetsuit.
A full wetsuit.
And a hockey mask.
This is how...
Ding, 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 ding.
This is how
Jason gets the hockey mask.
That's it. This is how the iconic hockey mask happens. It's
because before all of that, he doesn't have anything over his face.
And they never show his face.
Right, yeah.
She talks about a flashback.
Off in a distance, you see it a little bit. But you never,
it's always kind of covered up with shadows or it's blurred out.
Right.
Yeah. But... yeah, this is
what
a lame way that he gets his hockey mask. By
right,
the way.
And that hockey mask is so iconic now for this character.
Yeah,
and it was such a throwaway.
It really was
in this movie.
And why does the guy have the hockey mask on?
What's that?
Why does he have the hockey mask?
They don't show it. Remember? So, okay. So Shelley, dejected after scaring the shit out of this woman now for the third time?
No. I'm saying, why does Shelley have the hockey mask?
Oh, there's no reason.
He's like, I'm going to go underwater. By the way, how he got underwater without her hearing it in this fucking pond, like
how he even got into a whole full fucking wetsuit. With a spear gun. Where was he hiding the fucking spear gun?
Snuck around, got into the pond somewhere a ways away from her.
Right.
Swam underwater silently.
Yes. Held his breath
the entire time in a hockey mask.
Yes.
Just to grab her leg.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and freak her out.
My point is, I don't understand why he has the hockey mask. I mean, I guess we should just say that Shelley invented that as a way to hide the identity of a serial killer, and the half-wit Jason was like, cool idea.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Shelley, after being Jiminy Christmas. Dejected from this woman for a second time, like he's just like, you don't like me, and he's like, she's like, I didn't say that.
Yeah, she's like I like you, but
I like you, but not in that way. And he's just like, yeah, I know. And he just like walks away, mopes away.
Yeah.
And then he walks over to the barn, looks in the window, and that's the last time we see Shelley until we see Jason Voorhees wearing Shelley's fucking hockey mask
for eternity.
What's that?
For eternity.
Yeah. And has his spear gun. So we don't even see Jason kill Shelley.
No.
We just see him in the hockey mask with Shelley's spear gun, and then he shoots the spear straight through that woman's eyeball.
Yeah, which is another great idea that Shelley brought the spear gun to set up another death, a cool death.
Yeah.
Because the spear shoots right at the camera.
This whole fucking thing is Shelley's fault.
Yeah.
All of this is Shelley's fault.
Pretty much.
Like, everybody could have lived if he didn't back into the motorcycles at the grocery store.
Yeah.
The motorcycle gang would not have come and siphoned all the gas out of their van, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. he wouldn't have made all these pranks that everybody thought were pranks in the beginning, before people really started dying.
Yeah.
Right? So people could have realized that there was something wrong earlier.
No, he like,
and he wouldn't have supplied fucking Jason Voorhees with a mask and a spear gun.
Yeah.
To kill off the very attractive young woman.
Much of this is his fault.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got those cool death scenes. You don't see Shelley again until later on. He
just like stumbles back into the house with a slit
throat. And then of course the person, I think it's maybe Chris. She's like, Shelley, this is no time to be fucking around, or I forget who it is.
Well,
and then they realize finally for once that this isn't Shelley fucking around. He's really dead.
He's really dead. Yeah. But we should say that like Chris and Rick go off to just hang out next to a different part of the lake. They like drive away just to get away from everybody.
Yeah.
In the Vita Bug that has like no windshield anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They park next to the lake. He leaves the fucking headlights on.
Of course.
In the dark. Right? Battery runs out. This is where we get a little bit of exposition as to why she has not returned to this house in 2 years.
Yeah, sort of.
Which is basically she came into contact with Jason out in the woods one night after she got in a fight with her parents.
But somehow she made it back to her bed, and she doesn't know if that was real.
She doesn't know how she made it back. Yeah. So Jason didn't kill her.
I guess.
Right, because he had her, right?
Or it wasn't a dream that she had, but that foretold a Jason Voorhees.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Whatever.
Doesn't make any sense.
And then so while they're away, all these murders are going down. So by the time they get back to the house, the power's out, there's a windstorm, and they don't know where anyone is.
Right. Stoners have been killed, by the way, too.
Yeah, how were the stoners killed?
Dude, I don't even... Oh, well, the dude was, like, pushed in, like, power...
Oh, that's right.
He cuts the power, right?
Terrible death.
Yeah, this is such a throwaway, lazy fucking death in any horror movie is throwing somebody up against, like, a power
Or
grid.
in any action movie as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The end of, like, Tango and Cash when they knocked the dude in the Power Junction box.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate that shit. Even Death Warrant has that with Van Damme a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. He goes down to check and see, why is the power out? Let me go check a fuse. Jason's down there, throws him into the fucking box. He gets shocked. Then Jason goes up and I don't remember.
What does he do to the lady stoner?
I don't recall.
What did he do to her?
Kind of a forgettable one.
Yeah.
Don't recall.
I can't remember either.
I can't remember if Chris goes upstairs and finds her in some way. I
don't know.
Whatever.
But of course they split up. Her and Rick split up when they got back to the house. Yes, and the
classic Rick death that I remember from a kid is he squeezes his head until an eyeball pops out towards the camera, which is a pretty good one.
Which in 3D was pretty good.
Yeah.
But they should have like showed more of that.
I think
like the head pop.
I think that they were pretty limited because we were talking about the making of where they were saying how these shots were difficult to get the pop out stuff.
Right.
Could you imagine like if they were like have this whole prosthetic head set up with the eyeball to pop out and they're like, nah, we didn't get it. Reset it. That had to be a fucking nightmare.
They would have had to have like 30 of those heads made.
Oh my God, dude.
Which would have been impossible.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a cool death scene for him.
That is a cool death scene. And then he throws... There's kind of a funny scene where like... So she doesn't know that Rick's dead yet. Chris doesn't know that Rick's dead yet. And she's like inside and the wind is just like whipping. Right? And it's just like blowing the door open, blowing the windows open and stuff. And she's just like running back and forth trying to close shit. Because at this point, I think she's encountered maybe a dead body at this point, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
And so she's starting to freak out. She doesn't know where Rick is. And then Rick's body gets thrown through the fucking window.
Yeah.
And then now it's like on, right? She's like...
And the rest of this is just her versus Jason.
Yeah. Because she's the only one left.
I'll give her credit, man. She fights back pretty good in this.
She does. She
makes some terrible decisions like they all do, like a Geico commercial.
Yeah. And I will give this series of movies credit too, because I think it's always a lady.
Yeah, it is kind of always a lady that kind of wins out sort of in the end.
Yeah, it's the final girl, right? Is always
she machetes him. She hangs him at one point.
Yeah, she hangs him from the
barn,
the straw,
yeah,
the hay,
the hay bale.
Baler.
What is that called?
I don't know.
The hay bale loft, hay bale lifter.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
The
I think that's
lifter.
the technical term.
I think so.
Yeah.
She hangs him off of that.
Still not dead.
Still not dead. She takes a hatchet and hatchets him in the head. Right.
Well, it turns out one of the biker gang leader is still alive.
Yeah, he finally wakes up and comes to and decides, I'm going to fight this guy. Immediately gets his hand chopped off.
Right.
And then gets hacked out by Jason with a machete, of course. And then she puts the hatchet into his head, right through his mask.
And this is how the mask gets its iconic like wedge cut up in the upper corner of it as well. And then that's basically the end of the movie.
Yeah, but she goes and gets in a canoe and like kind of paddles out in the middle of the quote unquote lake. And then wakes up the next day. It's daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And
she thinks she sees him again, but it turns out that's kind of all in her
head.
Like
she's gone a little sideways.
And then the camera pans over to Jason's body still laying in the barn with the hatchet in its head.
Yeah, and she sees him coming out of the barn, and I do like this scene because he's without his mask.
Oh,
and he's real freaky looking. I guess Sam...
No. She sees him coming out of the house. It's out of the cabin.
Oh, okay.
When she's looking...
Oh, yeah, you're
talking
right,
about when
right.
she's having the nightmare.
Sorry, did I say barn?
She's in the canoe.
Because she sees him through the window, and he's staring out the window, and then comes running out of that. Yeah. But, and this is all during the day, and I guess, is it... who is it? Winston? Who's the makeup guy?
Stan Winston
did like one of the masks for Jason,
right?
Like
for an alternate ending.
Yeah, and
because they were going to decapitate him.
But either way, they have like without the hockey mask on.
Yeah.
At the end, you finally get some good shots of his like deformed face.
Right.
And I saw this movie, like I said, I think on the last show, like late night at a hotel on the USA Network, and I was for sure thought it was HBO because I just thought you could not show a movie like this. It's so evil and satanic. You could not show it on even regular cable TV. But I do remember those shots of him coming out of the house because as a kid, holy shit, the way how deformed he looks and his teeth and shit. I was like, oh God. Right. And it's also shocking to see during the day because but it's all in her mind.
Because you don't usually see that. In this series of movies too.
And then Jason's mom jumps up from the water and tries to grab her. It's got worms crawling out of her head.
She does grab her.
Yeah, but
she grabs her, pulls her into the water, and then
that's right. But it's all in her.
And
head.
Right. We Wayne's World into
cops.
Real world cops are at the house and they're taking Chris out of the house, and she is just fucking like insane. She is absolutely
they're like everyone's dead but her.
Yeah.
And
this girl went through hell, and like let's get her to the hospital, blah blah blah. Yeah. And she's just freaking out.
And she drives off in the car like laughing and all goofed up.
Yeah.
And they pan over to see Jason's laying in the barn.
Yes. Yeah.
To their credit, I thought for sure they're going to show him like Twitch or something.
Like Twitch or something like that. No.
He doesn't.
They did a good job back in the 80s. They did a good job of leaving it open-ended.
Yeah.
You know, like will he, won't he?
Yeah.
Kind of deal like that. But yeah, I mean, this is also before this franchise just fucking like, I mean, these types of movies have already jumped the shark already.
Yeah.
But this franchise, all these horror movies franchises, at some point during the 90s, either mid-90s or late 90s, fucking really go
buck nutty.
Just nutso.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we had Jason X at some point during the 90s, right? Where it's Jason in space.
Yeah, and then you had...
really low quality.
Yeah,
right?
you've got Jason versus...
You've got Jason versus Freddy. That would have been like early 2000s. Like the Limp Bizkitification of horror movies was a real fucking thing, man. Yeah. In late 90s. Yeah. You know, you had that one Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
That was just, I mean... Rob Zombie, can you just stop?
Yeah,
can you
please.
Just stop
please.
Fucking making movies.
No one enjoys this.
No.
And even your fans, they're liars.
Yeah,
they're liars.
Total
no one enjoys
liars.
this.
Just like David Lynch fans.
Stop it. Anita, stop it. She likes some Lynch stuff.
I know. But yeah, these movies can really go fucking off the rails. H2O?
Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah.
End of the movie.
How
many Blu Its?
Oh, well, my friend, I'm giving this a 4.5.
You're giving it what?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Even though, like, towards the end of these types of movies, I always get pissed off because it's like, you're not doing the most obvious thing that you should be doing right now.
Yeah.
Which is running the fuck away.
Yeah.
At one point, Jason is stabbed in the leg. He is obviously hobbling around, right? He cannot fully like run or walk fast.
But she jumps in a van at that point.
She jumps in the van,
which is out of gas.
She also doesn't roll up the window.
No.
You know, just like simple shit, man. Simple shit.
And wouldn't you know, they had this rickety wood bridge.
Right.
And the gas dies right as she's going across the bridge. Mm-hmm. And since she dies on the bridge can't take the weight. And the tire bursts.
Tire bursts. Yeah. But then she doesn't run like down the road. She runs back to the lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, shit like that. It's just like...
Well, it's the Geico commercial.
It's the Geico commercial.
Let's hide behind this.
Let's hide behind all these chainsaws.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so you say 4.5?
I say 4.5. I love this because this is before, like I was trying to say before, like this is before everything went way off the rails.
Yeah.
This is like classic kind of slasher, 1980s slasher flick, dude.
I mean, look, it's got the iconic Jason introduced with his hockey mask. This is this is how we know the Friday the 13th movies. This is the one that kind of starts it. As far as I'm concerned, when I was a kid, this is all I knew. I remember renting the first one going, I'm going to watch Friday the 13th. I'm like,
and being
where
so disappointed.
is the goddamn mask?
Being so disappointed.
Who is this lady? What is going on here?
Right.
Yeah, I do remember that. So, I mean, I'll give it... I'm just not a fan of these movies in particular, but I'll give it because of the genre and what it is. And this one is very competently made.
Yes.
There's not much of
the acting is somewhat like
there's some bad acting,
very suspect.
There's a super thin plot. And I know again people are like, dude, it's like but no, there's almost no plot.
Yeah, but there really never is.
Yeah, I know, but
these types of things. Yeah.
I don't know. Like you're bringing up Nightmare on Elm Street. There's
great
something,
point. I mean, that's a good plot.
Yeah.
That's
and
a good plot.
Even Halloween has a good plot.
Halloween has a fairly competent plot.
Yeah, you end up finding out that this guy's escaped. There's a history behind it. There's a history behind
But there's also a history behind Jason Voorhees.
No, I know, but
it's just not well thought out.
But I shouldn't have to watch part 1 and part 2.
That's true.
You know, and so at some point when you get to like halfway through this movie and you realize, oh, he's just going to start killing them off all one by one. And even when Rick and her go off and have this little heart-to-heart, it's terrible. It's I don't understand what sort of relationship you two have, and this doesn't clarify it anymore, and I don't care about it. Like, what are we doing here? So,
and Friday the 13th has always just kind of been that way, too, right? Like, every movie that I've seen in this franchise, and I have not seen them all, have always been this way. Like, it's not a very, like, the setting of these movies and the characters very iconic, but I don't think like there's really much of anything else there.
No,
no.
It's
just not. There's not enough there in these movies for me to be like, this is fantastic horror movie stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's, again, this is competently made. If you're showing up for cool death scenes, there's pretty, like,
it's fun to watch. It's a fun watch.
Yes, it's a
fun watch.
They give you exactly what you should get out of this. It's like watching a martial arts movie and having cool fight scenes. You're watching this slasher movie and you're getting some cool death scenes. So yeah, I'll give it. I'll give it like 4.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
3.5 to 4.
Yeah.
Somewhere around
I would recommend it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's super fun to watch.
Yeah.
And
it's a quick watch too.
And if you can watch this in 3D too,
yes,
fucking do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Get in there, man.
It's and it's a quick watch. Again, it moves along at a pretty good clip.
All right. So do you have a
wait, hold on. Restart that again.
Okay. So do you have a dialogue scene?
I don't
know. I don't know if there was really much of a memorable quote from this movie.
That's crazy. We usually have something.
What was the one that you said, though? Because you said it in unison with the movie. Oh, Rick.
Rick. It was just something like that.
Rick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Geez.
It wasn't great. There actually really isn't any.
There's no real, like, there's not a lot of good dialogue.
No. Hey, look. We usually can figure out something for this and usually look it up. It's really not worth it.
No, it's not.
And in fact, we can just end it here, and I don't have to go searching for the piece of audio to correlate with it. So, yeah.
Perfect.
That is that. Cut print.
Cut print.